Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be around the world. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks. And yeah, I'm back. I had to do something because, the World Cup's on. I thought I wanted to do more World Cup content, but unfortunately, that's been the case. But I'm here now. And welcome back, everybody. And also, you can also view this not just on my channel, but you got the WTT here in the house. And big up to my guy Gary. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. Looking forward to having a little chat. I don't
Always.
usually have time on Sunday mornings, but it worked out this time, so I'm glad to be here. Yeah,
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that. I mean, there's a few things. There's a few things I could be doing this afternoon that I will be doing, but I thought, yeah, I had some free time, and also my TV right now has got all the goals from the World Cup so far. And can you believe I still haven't seen I haven't seen your highlights, your last game against Belgium. I haven't even seen it. But I know your president did fire the Belgians up though, big time. But
yeah.
but you know what though, I want to talk. Actually, I want to talk about your boys first, before we talk about everything else. Even though we know we're down to the last four now, right? But what's your assessment of the USA team throughout this World Cup? I mean, has there been any surprise? Anyone that's been in the squad who you're thinking, oh, what's he doing in the squad? But they may have surprised you. Standout performances, your favorite games. Talk to me, my
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. So one, yeah, I didn't. I thought that the defense was going to struggle, which I mean they did show up in the last match, but they actually held up. And the football actually looked better based on if you saw how they were looking earlier on in Poch's tenure. It didn't look so good in the beginning, right? So they definitely surprised me. They actually played like much better than I thought they were going to play in the World Cup for sure. Balogun did stand out, and Tillman I think was probably the one that was the star of the team. If there's anybody. Pulisic needed to show up a little bit more, but I don't think he could. I think once again he's injured again, so he basically couldn't bring it. But Tillman definitely was a player that stood out. With the free kicks, right? I think he had at least two free kicks. I think, right? So, yeah, they I think Poch did well. I think he's gonna have to find some more players somehow. I don't know how you do that, but they need more depth. They need some of these players to get their name out there. But I think the team's getting some of these players are old, right? You got so they need to. I think they're old, so they need to move. Find the next set of players. I mean, I don't know if they just need to go even young and just bring some of the young in. I mean, that is it. Kevon Sullivan, the player that City picked up, right, and they will bring over eventually. He might be a player that at least get him into the. If he's that good that City's looking at him at this age, then maybe he's that good for USA, right? so, so I think there's options there for them. But yeah, no, they did really well. Like I said, I think the defense, which was my concern, actually showed up in the last game. And Belgium, who was struggling, I think was struggling, actually took advantage when they had a chance. Most teams haven't done that, right? Most teams haven't taken that advantage when you get a chance that a team makes a mistake and punish them, and Belgium definitely did that. If you punish a team, they probably won't come back, right? So, but yeah, no. So yeah, I think USA did well. Uh, the red card situation was, I think, the whole controversy behind Bellingham red card and Messi's non-red card.
Mm.
That's probably where a lot of that started, and then the fact that then people had to step in, and that guy had to step in and try to fix it, which it didn't. I don't think it needed to be fixed. And as one of the guys I was talking with said, it probably messed up the game. Probably messed up USA's head. The fact that Balogun wasn't probably scheduled to go in, not hadn't practiced probably as a potential starter. Next thing you know, boom, he's in. They're starting him, and then probably had his worst game in the World Cup, right? As far as like what he provided to the team, because he probably was just mentally he's going from here to there, up and down, and now all of a sudden he's going to try to show up, and he wasn't able to do it. So I think like I'm looking at this, looking at the rankings for that game. He was the worst player for USA. Yeah, is it? Yeah, yeah. No, no. Was he your last fight? No, 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 not in that game. But I'm looking at the game where he got the red card.
Okay. Yeah.
so, so yeah, yeah. In the red card he got, yeah. But no, no. Actually, in this game, he was actually, yeah, he was the worst player in the last game as well. I mean, the entire front line was terrible. The only standout was Tillman. I mean, if you look at it, pretty much the midfield and the front line, the best player was Tillman. So I think he's made a name for himself. Not sure where he plays, but that free kick he's got on him was really nice. Oh, Leverkusen. So you know what? I could see him leaving there if he continues to perform. Right. So yeah, yeah. So that's my the USA chat. So yeah, no USA. I think they should be proud of what they did. I
Mm.
think when you get into the knockout rounds, you need something a little bit special, and the special for USA was Pulisic, and he wasn't able to deliver. I
Yeah.
think that you need that player that's going to do that for
Well,
you.
how old is he now? How old's Pusey He must be
Eh,
30, what, 34,
Is he
35?
30 already? No,
Is
no,
he
he's
is he is he
27.
that
He's
old?
27. He's
He's
27.
27.
Yeah, he
Jeez.
started when he came onto the scene. I think he was I thought he was a teenager, maybe 18 when he first
Okay.
came on the scene.
Okay.
So he's been around, you know, professional football for a bit. Um,
Yeah.
he just
Seems like he's been around forever.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think he came on pretty young, and I think that's the thing. Like, you look at a Pulisic, and you're like, well, there might be another one in a country of like 300 million. There's probably another teenager that probably could be. It's like that. I don't know if you follow college basketball, but it's like the Christian Leitner who actually goes with the dream team, right? Because you need somebody, one of the younger up and coming players, to maybe be part of the big, the big international teams. I think I would be surprised if not one player that they could have brought in. That's why,
Mm.
so you can get that. The women did that, and with some of their players, and you've seen them grow from it. So yeah, yeah. So he's 27, yeah, and playing at
27.
Milan, and he looks really good there. But I think the whole key for him was being healthy. He wasn't healthy, and I think they probably overdid it. And this, like you look at England, the way they handle Saka, I think
Yeah.
Pulisic needed a similar thing because he was going to be injured. So, like, if you're going to depend on him, at least maybe bring him on as opposed to let him start all the matches that came back to haunt them. Because when they finally needed him to show up for 90 minutes, he couldn't do it. Like England might get 90 minutes out of Saka if they continue to just give him the little pockets of time that they've got. I mean, they brought him in at halftime, right? So you
Mm.
got two more matches. If they're able to get through this next match, I assume he won't start the next one, but in the final, they might have to just start him, right? You go out, you warm up, you play, you pull him at halftime. It's no different than if you bring him in late, but you might have a lead, right? So
Yeah.
you never know, you never know. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the USA chat. I feel like I've been talking for a while here, but yeah, no, I think USA did well. Uh,
No, so
it's gonna
it's
be
all
it's gonna be a matter of because a lot of these players that are all some of the stars on here are all in their mid 20s. Well, actually late 20s now. Adams is
yeah.
27, Pulisic 27. I think McKenny. They're all 27. So where is the 22-year-old? Right, the 22-year-old I believe is not 24 is Tillman. Right, so they
Yeah.
don't have. They need that. They need to have somebody in maybe some people in their 30s, people in the low 20s, but they don't have that. I don't think.
Mm.
So everybody's in that same age. So this is one of those things with, there should be a cycle of players coming in and out. I always go back to the Bayern Munich team, like when Mueller was 22, 21 on the bench, watching Bayern Munich's team of Ribery and what's his name up front.
Mm.
You know, like that was how you wanted. That's I always look at that as like the model. You want to have your like world class players in their 27, 28 year olds, and then your future world class players sitting on the bench watching them, right? So
Yeah. Would you when you was referring to strike, was you referring to Lewandowski at the time? You mean?
no, no, Bayern Munich when Mueller was on the bench
Oh yes,
and Ribery
yeah.
and
You had Frank Ribery, and you had, was it Arjen Robben?
Arjen Robben were like the
You
stars
had,
of the team, right?
yeah, yeah,
And then eventually what happened? Mueller became the star, right? And who was
yeah,
behind him? That's the trick. Got to have somebody behind your
yeah.
guy. And you
Sorry,
know what?
Lewandowski hadn't signed for the club yet.
No, that was later.
Um,
That was yeah,
that was later on, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
trying to think who that was well, because I'm trying to think who the striker was. If anyone knows, and they go, big up to Chris.
Yeah.
He's got it in Mario Gomez.
Mm,
You know what I mean? But listen,
yeah.
anyone wants to jump on, more than welcome. You're more than welcome. I've always said time and time again, everyone's welcome here. And big up to Chris. Big up, lads. Hope you're well. Yeah, we're pretty good. My voice has come back now after last night. Uh, yeah, it did go for a bit. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
yeah, Pulisic only turns up versus Liverpool. I didn't expect USA to make it out of the group. Honestly, I thought
Yeah.
Turkey,
No,
Paraguay,
the way they came into the World
Paraguay.
Cup, you would think they getting knocked out would not be you wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make it, right?
Yeah,
But they actually, out of all the the host teams, they actually surprised me more.
mm,
I think they made it. No, they all got knocked out in the same round. So you know,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
And Turkey did flop again. Um, surprisingly, right, Gomez and Gary just saying hello, hello, hello. Yeah. So like I said, I mean, we know who the last four is. Um, I will talk about them in due course, all them four teams, but I just wanted to go back a little bit and just wanted to talk about Cape Verde and their heroics. I had to talk about them, had to bring them up. Um, before, I mean, I knew about them, the country, but I didn't know how good their team was. Coming to the World Cup, I don't really know any of their players. Maybe now I know about only maybe three of them. But the keeper, um, what did I say his name was? The
uh,
keeper, the 40-year-old keeper. Sounds
Serena, Serena. I don't know. I know it doesn't
yeah,
pronounce the same way it looks. So you're like always saying you're gonna say it wrong if you try to use the
yeah,
letters.
exactly. Yeah.
Rosina or something.
Chris will probably know. Um,
Yeah.
I'm sure he would know because he's the youngest encyclopedia I know. Um, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was. I thought his performance against Spain, I thought, was probably the best goalkeeping performance of this entire World Cup.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
what did you make of Cape Verde's heroics? Yes, we know they, it was three draws. At the end of the day, they still got out of the group, which was a very tough group.
Yeah.
They drew two of the best teams in the group, and then against Argentina, could have shocked them. That was, I mean, that contest, that was like Gary Coleman versus Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's I thought they were I thought they were very. I know they only scored in a couple of games, but to to not lose in 90 minutes for each game, it takes some doing, and hopefully they can go on and be a force in the African Cup of Nations. But what's your assessment on Cape Verde?
No, they played really well. I mean, I definitely was surprised, like the way they were playing, and I mean, hard working. Like that. I think, like I said, these some of these smaller nations, they have the quality there, and I think it's you just get them playing well together, and then you see what the results are, right? They
Yeah,
surprised some people. I mean, that free kick. I mean, that I forgot his name that came on and scored that goal in the Argentina game, but he almost scored both. He's almost scored both on both of his free kicks that he got in that match, right? I mean, Emmy
Yeah.
had to make a save on the second one, right? So
Mm.
they've got some good players there. They had a good run. I guess the trick is, will they be able to build on that? As you said, we'll see how they do in the Cup of African Cup of Nations, but this shows you that they do have the talent there. The trick is, it's consistency, right? Can you do it again? Can
Yeah.
you do it in another tournament?
Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, I saw that comment.
Oh my God, no, sorry, man, big up, Chris, man. And before you go on, man, big up to BK Sports. Yes, yes, Darren's in the house, man.
Yeah, G
Big up to
Money.
you, my
Yeah,
friend. Big up,
I
man.
I was telling people about G Money yesterday on the show. So you want to
Yeah,
be
when I
like,
hear G Money, man, I think a New Jack City. I think a New
exactly, no,
Jack City.
exactly. But what, as I was telling him, I want to be I wanted to be G Money at the beginning of the movie, not G Money at the end.
Yeah, in it. Yeah, and certainly not Dub Dub Man. You know what I mean? You don't want to be Dub Man.
There
No
you go.
way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rest in peace, Bill Nunn, man.
Yeah.
Class act who he was. Yeah. Sorry. Please go on.
Yeah, no. They, like I said, Cape Verde, they did really well. They got unlucky. They got unlucky, and I think right now it's coming down to football as opposed to being lucky and not lucky anymore, right? Switzerland didn't get the opportunities that Cape Verde did in terms of being able to surprise and maybe actually take something from Argentina, and Cape Verde did have that opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so yeah, no, you know what? This is what these type of events do, though, right? You have these world events like the Olympics and all this type of thing, where athletes from smaller nations get an opportunity to perform, and you're like, wow, there's something there, right? Maybe there are even better athletes there that we don't even see, right? So, I mean, they have good athletes based on what we saw. The trick is just do it again, do it
Yeah.
again. So we shall see. As you said, we'll see in the African Cup of Nations how they perform because they have talent there, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the
Exactly.
goalkeeper will be what? He'll be what, 42 by the time that
Yeah.
Cup of Nations comes up. So, yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
I'm sure he'll play, and I think with the beauty of being a goalkeeper as well. I mean, over the years, over the decades, I should say, you've had keepers that that play on into their late 40s.
Mm,
So I wouldn't be surprised if he did, to be honest. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I really
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, but I know they probably have to go for qualifiers first. But yeah, if they continue with the same form of attitude, I mean, they can take on the likes of Morocco, Egypt. Um, you know what I mean? And Nigeria will have a lot to say as well because it was Congo that beat them to get for Congo to get to the World Cup finals. So
and that shouldn't
you
even
know,
be the case, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like that shouldn't. That's like Italy. Italy shouldn't
yeah,
like Italy not
yeah,
being in the World Cup is another country that underperformed. And like they shouldn't be struggling to make it to the World Cup. All right, it
yeah,
shouldn't be. All right, but they
mm,
are, and that's a that starts at the top, right? That starts at whoever their manager is. So yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes
Agreed.
talent alone doesn't get you by, right? I mean, I think Brazil, if they get a really bad manager, might have a miss, right?
Yeah,
Because Ancelotti, if he gets a chance, I don't know if I think he's staying, but
mm,
he needs to do a lot. I guess look at it, the new manager for Portugal, right? He's in the basically it seems like he's in the pockets of Ronaldo. So will that change?
you know
You know,
what? And it's funny. So who took over the Portugal job
is
from
the he was the former
Ancelotti?
manager from Al Fassar, wherever where Ronaldo, won one of the cups that he was there, or lead the League Cup
Oh,
there. So, or
yeah,
the championship there. So yeah, he's definitely a friend of Ronaldo. So whether or not that means he's going to do anything different than what we already seen, we'll
and
find out. I guess in the Euros.
yeah. And
So
also, it's funny you brought that up really with Portugal, but you know what? we will discuss them in a sec. But the fact that they qualified knockouts and Uruguay didn't, yeah, from Cape
Mhm.
Verde. I mean, must be nice having a good goalkeeper, not someone who's acting like he's volleyball in goal. I'll tell you, I really don't get that yesterday. With Jordan Pickford, I really don't get that. You know what I mean? I really don't. We will at some point. We will discuss England last night because that concerned me as well. With Pickford, but yeah, but you know what? Pickford's the kind of person that do not be surprised if he has a really good game on Wednesday night. He wouldn't be my number one keeper though. In my opinion, he wouldn't be my number one keeper.
Well,
You know
I
what I mean?
think he epitomizes some of English football because we probably miss Maguire, right? You probably
Mm.
would have rather have him coming on the bench or actually starting for you on that back line because it's a little bit. It's not good. It's not as good as it could be or should be. You know.
Harry Maguire
Yeah.
must
Yeah.
be Harry Maguire must be one player who performs better for his country than he does his club, and I've said
Yeah.
that for years. I
Yeah.
really have.
Yeah.
Italy can't qualify for tournaments, but it's okay. Southgate said, "Hold my beer, and we'll give you the Euros trophy." You know what I mean?
Imagine
didn't even
imagine if that. Yeah. I mean,
oh, man, didn't even capitalise after Luke Shaw scored. You know what I mean, and that's something that Mikel Arteta has been guilty of as well. When you've got someone on the ropes, then you just, well, you know what? I'm going to back off for a bit and let them have the ball.
Yeah, that
We've
was
won. We've
that Euros final is like because that's the same. Is that the finals where basically Saka got basically he got he got tackled basically on the touch line there,
yeah,
and his neck almost taken off, and nothing was
yeah.
given. Not
Nothing was
nothing
given.
was given. I was like, what? Nothing's given?
Ridiculous.
Like nothing? Are you serious? Like no foul
Ridiculous.
even? And
Absolutely. I'm saying absolutely ridiculous that was.
yeah,
The one
yeah,
and
that
only
quadra.
Kawaja. Big up to you, man. Big up, Brenny and Gary on the panel. Big up the chat. Morning, everyone. Welcome back, lads. Welcome to you as well, man. As always. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope your weekend's been good. Hope you're enjoying the World Cup so far. And also, I've been watching some of your short videos as well. Yeah, man. Keep it up, man. Keep up the great work. Smash the likes and subscribe to Brenny K and to Gary on the panel. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank
much.
you.
Appreciate that. Right. Portugal.
Mm,
Portugal's team I've always ever since I was a child I've always liked Portugal. Maybe it's because we do have Portuguese from way back in the family.
mm-mm.
But for me, despite all of Cristiano Ronaldo's you know achievements and there's been amazing, fantastic achievements, no doubt about it, no doubt. Uh, for me, when I look at old Portuguese videos, I think Mr. Portugal for me is still Eusebio and will always be Eusebio. You know what I mean? Forget the figures, forget the goals, forget the assists. Just as a player and as a person. And with Ronaldo, he was one of those players that I never saw him right now. From many years ago when he was young, I never saw him play for Sporting Lisbon. Never saw him play. When David Beckham left Manchester United to go Real Madrid, uh, Sir Alex Ferguson got this youngster in to replace him, and he was all about the step overs, and he looked some raw talent, and he looked really good. And you looked at him, and you think, you know what, this player can get better. So that was what 2003. Fast forward about 3, 4 seasons later, he just became this amazing beast of a player. So he wasn't one of those that for me that started out. When you get some players like Messi who just start out and they already have that. They have that in them already. And it's bam, 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 bam. Consistency, consistency. Ronaldo wasn't that yet. And then he just became this amazing world class player. Now, my thing to you, G, is do you think he should have quit international football a long time ago and let the Portuguese squad breathe, because from what we saw at this World Cup, and we saw it at the Euros, we saw it at the last World Cup. He wasn't the player he was years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but do you think now that it looks like he has retired from international football, maybe the Portuguese team can thrive again?
Yeah,
But
and
what's your take? What's your take on that?
I think, and that it's terrible. That's how his international career will end, right?
Mm,
Because he's as you said, world class player. So Portugal did not get the best out of him in these big events, like they should, right? They
yeah,
needed. I mean, I think they did win one international. I guess one. I think it was in the Concacaf or something like that. They won
mm,
something there, Gold Cup, I think it was, right? But otherwise, internationally, he hasn't been there, and I think that's, like I said, comes down to coaching. Yeah, you saw, as you said, in the Euros, he come off the pitch and the team looked better because they weren't like, you know, you kind of lean on someone who can't give it to you anymore, you know,
yeah,
and the coach keeps telling you to lean on him, and like you're like, but he can't do what he used to, coach.
mm,
That's what it was. I mean, he can't, like, he's not there. Like the ball's getting crossed in, he's usually there. He's not. He can't be relied to be in the box when he needs to be. Because he's slower, right? His, everything every reason why you loved him, you can't play that way. You got to adjust to the way he plays, and that's comes down to coaching anyway. So they're not
yeah,
doing that either. So they're not adjust.
yeah,
You adjust to your stars, things might work out, but they didn't want to adjust to that either. So now he looks even worse, right? You got Ronaldo out there. They're trying to play like he's the older, the young Ronaldo, and he's not, right? So I kind of felt like that, and that's all coaching for me. So because they have, I mean, I mean, look at the Portugal team. You talk about like names,
mm,
yeah, Bettina and Neves, right? World Champions League winners, right? Starting in your midfield with Bruno Fernandes, and you can't get the job done.
yeah.
Now look at that midfield, and you can't get the job done.
That's a great midfield
I
for
mean that
me.
that midfield wins you anything in
Yeah,
club football for sure, based on what we've seen. And you can't get Fanage to actually, like, when you, like, I would be if Fanage is upset. I would be on his side because I'm like, he's. I mean, what else could he do? You see him play for Manchester United, and he'll do everything, but he's probably being handcuffed a little bit, being on that Portugal team with Ronaldo in front of him, right?
yeah,
So I kind of, so yeah, I think it's a wasted way to end a career in international football, right? These last 8 years for Ronaldo, and maybe they will do better. I mean, when you've got, was it Ramos, who just got sold for like 70, 80 mil or something like that, right? It's not
yeah,
because they're wasting their money. He's a good talent as well. He didn't play in the last match.
yeah.
He didn't play in the last match. Like, think about it. England they played some of their top players coming off the bench, right?
Mm,
Like in a 1-0 match, you need to score a goal. You're not going to bring on Ramos, right?
yeah,
Like you saw Argentina, right? They're bringing on Alvarez, right, in games, and now they're starting him, but they were bringing him on before. Like, he's a talent. You bring him on. That's what you got him
that's
for.
right. That's
So,
right.
so I kind of feel like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's again comes back to the stupid thing, coaching. That team is stacked, and you can't tell. I mean, think about it. They've got Mendes as their left back, Vitina. I mean, what? Come on, something doesn't add up, right? Something doesn't add
Yeah,
up, right? In the way that they performed, they're a much better team than they showed. So it's disappointing for them. It was disappointing for Ronaldo's career, and maybe maybe he'll regret some of the things he kind of wanted out of football at the end of his days. At some point, you got to humble yourself, right? He got humbled, right? Yeah, he wanted to be part. He wanted to sit there, think about it. You've got to Belgium, right? I think they didn't even start KDB and Doku in the game, in the previous game, right? And they got the win. Portugal's not going to sit two of their top players, you know, in the previous season, right? But sometimes that's what you need to do to get the win, and he's going to have that fire when he comes on late in the game, anyways, right? Think about it.
Yeah,
You sit Ronaldo, you bring him on either at halftime or in with 30 minutes left. Then he'll be in the box when that ball comes because he knows
yeah,
his chances were slim. He missed out 60 minutes of football. Sometimes you got to press the buttons or your players to get a little bit more out of him. I think he needed that. There had to be another level for him to go to, and I don't think we ever got to see that because he knew he was just going to play, right? When you don't know if you're going to play, then you have that little bit of an edge. And I think he's lost the edge because he's older, right? And he's not getting pushed anymore,
yeah,
right? Yeah, I mean it's easy
yeah.
to go to
100%.
where go to. Is it Qatar? Is that where he is? I think it's Qatar,
It's
right?
where he's at. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to go there and play, it's not as much pressure as if he had
Mm,
went to any other team in the world and played. So
mm.
or any other country. So yeah, yeah,
Oh man,
disappointing for Portugal, but yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that, man. No, great assessment, man. There,
Hmm.
but yeah, but like I said, big up to Quash, big up to Chris in the chat, and big up for Views Raid as well, and big up to Views as well.
There you go.
Yes,
Thank
man.
you.
Big up to you, Views, man. Hope all is
Mm.
well. Hope all is well on this beautiful Sunday. Beautiful Sunday indeed.
Yeah, like
And
Chris Walsh has that right comment there. I love Messi, but I hate Argentina. Like Art Messi,
yeah, that's
like
most people.
no, but think
That
about it.
I,
Like if
I
you
know.
watch NBA, if you watch NBA for like I watch NBA back in the days, like I
Yeah,
hated the Lakers, but I like Shaq. You know what I mean? It's just hard to.
yeah,
There's certain players that just have that likability that you're like I like him wherever he plays, even if it brings me pain sometimes. He's Messi's one of those type of players, at least with his football on the pitch, right? I mean, it's just what else? What are you gonna do?
yeah,
You can't like you have to shut him down for every second, every second of the game. If you give him a break, he will punish you, right? So
yeah, hundred
yeah,
percent, man, 100%. I've already done my own Kevin Keegan about Argentina. I would love if we beat them. Well,
you
we
gotta
have.
have you gotta have like the whole you got VAR. You got the 11 players, the 4 referees,
Mind you, last time
FIFA,
we played, we did beat them.
FIFA. You got like everybody. You got like 100 people all against you to get that win. All right. So
Yeah, quite a big enough views.
mm,
Yeah, man, that's the thing. And
mm,
yeah, Juno was just playing a match on scene versus. You know what? I fell asleep. Was watching it, and I was so tired. I fell asleep when it was 1-1. But I did see
mm.
the sending off. Yeah, that was deserved in my opinion. Whoever our left back or left wing back is against Messi, we are in trouble. Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That left
it's gonna be
like
tough.
yeah that left
Big up Gary. Hope you good, bro.
yeah yeah yeah
Yeah, if you
yeah
speaking up.
that left side that left back situation, or is it right back situation for
Yeah,
England? Not That's an issue, I think. Right. Yeah.
in
Is
it.
it right? It's
Well, I'll
right
tell you
back,
what.
right? It's right back. I mean, like the goals in the last couple of games, if I recall, all come off that right side of the defense, right? And Spence was having a problem
Mm,
in a couple games ago. I mean, even yesterday that goal comes off from that right hand side in the defense. You know, I mean, he should. I mean, should he? It was a good shot, right? It was a perfect shot. Should he have been given that much time? I don't know. It didn't look like he gave him that much space, but it always comes off that side. So yeah, I yeah, but like I said, England's got a better bench, and that made the difference.
mm.
Yeah.
I'm watching a game at home. Not interested in them going out drinking nonsense. Some of them shouldn't be out. They're not old enough. Bunch of club penguins. It's funny you say that because, oh man, yesterday across the road from me, there were some that looked. They were like some boy. It was like boys and girls, man. Some looked like 15, 16 years old. 17,
Mm,
you know what I mean? I mean, I didn't. I wouldn't go and say, "Oh, yeah, how old are you?" Because if I did that, they would like to tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm 19, 20 years old." I'd be like, "What?" Yeah, there was a lot of youngsters there yesterday, and I don't even think they were from my area, seriously. But
mm,
yeah, I mean, semi-final, final. I'm not gonna be. I'll be watching the semi-final work. If we get to the final, I'll be watching it at home. This is the only time Carlisle is packed. And you had a friendly yesterday, didn't you, Chris? Carlisle had a friendly yesterday. How'd you all get on? But while Chris he'll probably put up how they got on anyway. I need to talk about Brazil, man. Now Brazil, everybody,
uh,
no, seriously, because
mm,
this is a conversation because
mm,
it's. I'm going to talk about what we already knew, right? Because from when we were young, I've said this story a million times, even in group chats. Like my mum's side family, dad's side of family, those that love coming here in the coming here in the '60s. It was all about heroes. Grinch was a hero, to my dad and his uncles, for example. And Pele was a hero, you know what I mean? Jarzinho was a hero, Carlos Alberto, all them players, Rivellino, Gerson, I can go on. And um, yeah, and it's like, and then basically it was just you just fell in love with football. If you love football, that's why a lot of people love Brazil. And when I was a kid, some people did get, well, why do you like Brazil, man? Why do you like Brazil? And it's for the love of the game, the football that they played over the decades. Brazil. Growing up for me, Brazil was kind of like it was kind of like, say, how can I put it? Like when you had just for a short time, Florence Griffith Joyner was dominant in athletics, or you had Carl Lewis dominant, and then you had Ben Johnson. Then we know the rest. You know what I mean? It was that. Oh, the West Indian cricket team when I was a kid was the best in the world, best in the world. Yeah, they were the best for like 30, 35 years or something. It was kind of like that, and they produced these wonderful players over the years. Um, what's happened? I mean,
you know,
I know what's happened, and what do you think has happened? I mean, do you?
I
One thing. Sorry, one thing I'll ask you right before you give your assessment is: do you think that if he's still in charge, right? Do you think Carlo Ancelotti should just go back to basics and get the street footballers in the Brazilian leagues instead of these to be millionaires, man, who just don't put in a shift most of the time? That I'm excluding Vinicius Junior because I was quite impressed with him in this World Cup. Fire away.
Yeah, no, interesting that you bring up West Indies. And my dad is, he's from Barbados, so in
Okay.
as far as West Indies, he has is probably as much history, if not, I guess I have a little bit more history than you do. He's good
Yeah.
friends with Clive Lloyd, so like when Clive Lloyd used to travel through, he used to meet up with my dad. So like there's a connection there, and I talk a little bit about West Indies with him, and
All right.
basically the way that the one thing is players it became I and me as opposed to us. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And I think that's what it sounded like in terms of why West Indies isn't where they need to be. It's
mm.
because it's a little bit of a I and me as opposed to
Someone,
us,
yeah,
right?
someone else knows Clive Lloyd as well. Someone else that I know
Yeah,
knows Clive Lloyd.
yeah,
But before you
yeah.
go on as well, my dad also went to school and grew up with Sir Vivian Richards.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, they
mm.
even had a fight as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently Viv
Well,
Richards, has
now
a scar
now,
on his head.
now you know why
I mean,
you know where Gary comes from in my name, right? You know where Gary comes
of
from in my name.
course. Yeah.
So that yeah, so yeah,
Oh, Sobers.
yeah, yeah. My dad
There
like
you go.
I got a
There
picture of
you
my dad
go.
with Gary Sobers. So yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow. Wow.
so yeah. There's
Yeah.
that yeah. So my dad was definitely into his
Sorry.
cricket, but like I said, that change from West Indies, like you said, for that 30-year period to where they are now.
Yeah.
You're seeing it with a lot of teams. Brazil is another one. Like you said, names make a difference, right? Vinicius stands out. Vinny Jr., you know that. When somebody says Vinny Jr., you know it. Cunha, Rayon, Martinelli, as far as your attacking players on the pitch, those names are like nobody knows who they are, right?
Mm.
You don't know who they're not the names that you're familiar with when you say Brazil football, right? You know, Casemiro had his time. He's getting old, right? Gabriel Marquinhos in the back line. Those are big names in football, but they need some help in front of them. So yeah, I think they just don't have, like you said, they need those players like a Vinny, right? And that puts a lot, especially in these type of international games where you can go out and blow
Yeah,
teams away 7-1, right? Can't do
yeah,
that with these teams that have like okay players like Cunha and Rayan with Vinny aren't gonna get you 7 goals in a game when you've seen it can happen, right? Germany has it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think England should be able to, like, if the trick is has Argentina has the ball started has the snowball started already, you know, at the top of the hill, and will you be able to stop it, right? If they came, they just had a really nice game and a nice match coming into this one where they feel like they got this, right, as opposed to they were lucky to get by, right? So I think that's a trick there. But yeah, no, as far as Brazil, yeah, they starts at the top, but they need some different type of players out there that are going to give them something different when it comes to football. So they're missing, as you said, that flair. If they're gonna, it's probably not there anymore, right? The flair you're talking about probably isn't there. So you're gonna have to just play some better football,
yeah.
with the players that they got that do have talent, right? But it's yeah. But look at that squad, and not too many names stand out. And like the Spain and the French team,
Yeah,
names all over the place, right?
yeah.
You're saying Brazil doesn't have those type of players? They probably do. They probably just haven't molded them yet and get them to the point where they are as good as as far as name wise, which means they're out there performing. So yeah, yeah. So
Well, it's funny you mentioned Spain and France,
mhm.
because I know. Do you feel that this current French squad? How would you compare it to the French squad that won the World Cup in '98, as well
Ooh.
as them winning the European Championship 2000? Because when I look at players, when I look at the players back then in the late '90s, early noughties, they were just World Cup and world class. And you know what as well, right? I'm going to bring up Thierry Henry as well because '98 he was just this raw winger, yeah. At the time, I think he was at Monaco, then he went to Juve, obviously before he came to us. And then in I've never seen a change in a player. So in the summer of '98, he was at winger. Summer of 2000, he was this centre forward at Arsenal, and it was just an amazing. I mean, the change came about in that 2 years. But for me, I I look at that French squad then, and that was a solid, strong French squad. Do you think that is there any comparisons with the current squad compared to players back then?
Mm-mm. Well,
What,
I guess so because if I'm thinking about it, that French team, well, the last French team, right, to win, they had Conte, right? He was
yeah,
he
yeah,
was at his top powers back then, right? I
yeah.
don't know
It
if he
was.
had just won the league. He won the Premier League the year before, a couple years before that, or whatever. Like he had that
Yeah,
run of
he won
games,
it
right?
2 years
Where
running. He won
where
the
he
league
run
2 years running, didn't he?
where he won everything, right? He won it with Leicester, he won it with Chelsea, I think, and then the
Yeah,
World Cup all happened in that same like 5 to 10 year period, where he was like probably one of the top players in the world, right at that point, right? France, they got that in Mbappe, but not yet. You know what I mean? Like he's there, but then there's a lot of but he brings it every day, and then Dembele right next to, like, up front. And then they they
yeah,
have all the levels, right? You talk about Belgium
yeah,
and the players that they have on that front line, like a front line with Doué, Mbappe, and Dembele and Elise,
yeah,
right? That's you're sorted there, right? And then your back line with Saliba, you I mean, you just you know, they've got it's close. Mbappe's up there, but is he Conte level in terms of like I don't know. Maybe people just don't like him or whatever it is. I think maybe because of the Champions League, like not being able to get across the line in the Champions League is probably the one thing that's holding him back, right? Dembele wins the Champions League, and he's got a Ballon d'Or for it. Mbappe needs to get that Champions League, I guess, to to be able to sit on, to be able to talk to everybody at that level, right? Because they all have it, right? But no, I think there are comparisons, and I think the difference is just the errors, right? The errors are different, so you're gonna look at it a little differently. But they got the big names all across the board. And they can go to their bench and bring on some really good players as well. So yeah,
Mm.
not it's a. I think it's just different eras, but they're similar for sure in terms of what they're bringing to world football. France is definitely loaded, and I think there are still levels to go with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, just go on,
Going
Tim.
after he's going after Lisandro.
Oh my days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
100%, man. 100%.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah. That's fine. Yeah, no, yeah, no. France is up there. I don't know if this is it feels different, and I
Yeah.
think like they need to get that World Cup in the Messi era to show, right, to show. It's almost like Arsenal winning the Premier League with Pep still being there, as opposed to Pep not being there. It definitely hits different, right? So if Messi's there and they actually do play Messi in the final, meaning England's out, then
Indeed.
good, yeah. Got Rosie
Yeah.
in the house. Thanks for joining us, Rosie. So yeah, no,
Big
I
Rosie.
they definitely have the. I think the teams are similar, different eras, so it looks different, but it hits the same. They've got one of the top players in the world, two of the top players in the world. People will say, right, and Dembele and Mbappe, right, and Elise people say is probably the
Elise
one
as
star
well.
nobody
Yeah.
talks about as much, and probably should. Oh, you got a lot of work, a lot of
He's
something going
quality.
on over there. What's going on? What's going on?
Oh, it's an ambulance. No, ambulance. Yeah, here every day. It sounds like I know it sounds like I'm playing GTA 5, but nah, I haven't got it on. Oh, look, I'm looking at it right now. Can't
Mm,
wait for 6.
mm.
Yeah, so please, yes, please make sure you're sub to the
Yeah,
palace
thanks,
and you
Rosie.
press that button. Thank you,
No,
Rosie.
yeah,
Appreciate
so yeah, I think those teams are similar. I can't. If I had them, if you put the teams up next to each other, probably to see who was out there. I think they have France that year had across the board, right? When you think about just what Conte brought to the team at that point
you.
in his career,
Yeah,
really dominated, right? He really dominated in the games. Just the way that he controlled things like Rodri does, right? They don't have to
hmm,
score the goals, but you know that they're there and they're the reason. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
mm, yeah.
So yeah, man. But what I'll do as well is I will talk about England. I was always going to talk about England. I said at the beginning of the World Cup, England could, and I was thinking because of Tuchel, I said England could make the last 4. I
Mm.
didn't say we were going to win it, but I said we can make the last 4. We've now made the last 4. It was, I thought, yesterday's performance. I always thought after Haaland went off, and then we went and we was 2-1 up and then he went off in extra time. I thought, you know what? I don't know where or how Norway are going to score or even get back into this game. Force penalty shootout. I thought the performance wasn't the best, and I got a big up Thomas Tuchel because he wasn't impressed with it either. And
Oh, you know what? Just on that note, because as soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's what I want a manager to sound like after a win that gets him into a
of
semifinal.
course, of course, you know what I mean, and that's the thing. He's got an elite mentality. That's the thing about Tuchel,
Yeah.
and we've seen how he is with his teams at club football, especially comes defending. Because I still think the Mexico game was. the best performance, especially going down to 10 men.
No,
The
that
way the way we defended was like wow. But yeah, I mean, well, I don't really have to say too much on England. But would you say Jude Bellingham be the standout player for you for the English team?
yep. Yep. Yeah. Well,
It,
yeah. He definitely is. He definitely is. I mean, the fact that I still feel. I mean, Harry Kane is. He's sitting there with 6 goals, but the fact that he's sitting there with 6 goals and I'm still like, yeah, he's still there's levels. He needs to up his levels a little bit more. Harry Kane, you know, without Bellingham on the pitch, yeah, England would be struggling right now. He's putting headers in from crosses from Saka, all right, and Harry Kane. That's what he was doing that earlier in the group stages, but now I think he's gotten tired, right? When he gets tired, that's when he floats back even more. And like I think I put in one of the chats basically his heat chart from the match. He is everywhere on that pitch, everywhere. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think I think you have to. I think at his age and where he feels, he needs to. I want if I get him up the pitch and maybe I think without him playing the way he has, England would struggle because he actually did make a lot of defensive plays and stuff. But when you're a top player, if Kane is your top player and he's got to come back and support, then something's missing. All right, something's missing. And like you said, maybe that's because Harry Maguire is not there. He feels like he's not. He doesn't feel so safe with that back line that they got. Right,
yeah,
so and it's working out because Bellingham stood up, right? Kane's like, I'm going to try to do everything else I can. I'm not going to be in the box. So Bellingham, you're going to have to do the job, and he stood up and did that. So, and that's nice to have those two type of players, right? The same thing with France, right? If it's not Mbappe, it's Dembele. If it's not Kane, it's Bellingham. All right. If it's not Messi, then who? Like they don't have
yeah.
that consistent name behind him. All right.
Mm.
Um, who else is it? If it's Spain, like Spain, I don't know if they have like in the attack positions. Who do they have? The two names that stand out, right? Consistently, right?
Yeah, and you're right about
So
Argentina because I find that Lautaro Martinez, quality player, but
yep,
he's not very consistent.
yep,
Um,
yep,
I
yep,
when I see him playing for Inter, the guy is quality. He can score goals for fun most of the time. But then when you see him at international level, it's even at the last World Cup when he was huffing and puffing, he just couldn't blow the house down. I don't even think he even scored a goal in the last World Cup.
mm,
I mean, I know he notched yesterday, didn't he? But yeah,
yep,
he's a very he would actually frustrate me if he was at Arsenal. I'm not saying he's bad. He would just
yep,
frustrate me. You know what I
yep,
mean?
yep.
So I totally get that. But also, would you? To some, they've also said that Nico O'Reilly's been England's best defender. Would you go with that?
Think about what, like I said, where are all those goals coming from? Coming off that right
Mm,
side. They
yeah,
don't like how I don't even think much is coming off of that left side at all. I don't think any threats are coming from that side of the pitch, right?
yeah,
Nothing, right? And I think things do get easy when Saka comes on the pitch because he
mm,
puts a little bit more pressure on the left side of the defense that we're attacking. So then it's not as easy for teams to get by. So yeah, no, O'Reilly's played well. I mean, in terms of like, I like sometimes when things are quiet, you're like you don't realize what's going on. Like you said, when have you brought up O'Reilly's name much in terms of defense? Like you have any of the right backs. Anytime it's a right back, you bring their name up because either they had to make a really good stop or they just got punished, right? On the left side, O'Reilly's pretty much kept things quiet and not, they know they're better off going the other way. You know what I
yeah,
mean? At least that's the way it seems like to me. So I think
mm,
he's been doing really well. So yeah,
yeah,
he's looked really good for England in that sense. He's made it easy that they can just concentrate on the weak areas of the pitch at this
yeah,
point. And I think Kwanzaa isn't even he can't he's going to miss this game as well, right? Because they gave him a two
yeah.
match
Two
ban.
game.
So
Yeah,
so So it's almost like, do they just change formation? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because you really don't have a right back, and you get him punished there all the time. Maybe you make a significant change in your formation just to make it a little bit easier on yourself. I don't know. I mean, it might work because you've got Kane and Bellingham, but just maybe you do something different because Argentina is getting I think the football gods are on their side right now. Before it was the VAR and referees, and now it seems like everything's going their way. So yeah, and I think about it. Messi didn't score a goal, and as you said, Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez are the ones that scored the goals late for them to actually
yeah,
get across the line, right? I mean, they scored what an
yeah,
extra time, both of them. So
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Alexis McAllister scored the first. Didn't even realize
yeah,
that he did until this morning.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, he.
but
Mhm.
yeah, man, no, but from what yeah, I do. You know what? I do live opposite a police station. You're absolutely correct. But that what you heard, Chris, it was an ambulance. There is a fire. There's a fire station just around the corner from me as well. But there's no hospital where I am. Yeah, you got to go a little bit of a way to get to the hospital from here. But yeah, you know what? I said 2-1 yesterday. I said 2-1 England.
I had the same score as well. I had the
Yeah,
same score as
I said
well.
2-1. But
Yeah.
I said Saka to score one of the goals. And if he
Mm.
did score one of the goals, I would have got some free Nando's chicken. But hey, is what it is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I
You
got
know
I
what?
got
Maybe
I got
maybe he'll
free
score.
Nando's.
He'll score. He's got two more chances to score another goal. Maybe you get that Nando's chicken before the World Cup's over. So
There'll be another Nando's. If
if
anyone,
Saka
any
gets to a if
Nando's
Saka
fans
gets
can
to a
pop this up.
final, he will remember the last final he was in with the England shirt on. I have no doubt. Think about it. If he makes it to a final and he puts on an England shirt and gets on the pitch, he will remember that last time he was on a pitch with an England shirt on in a final. Right?
Mm,
I would hate to be that left back when he comes up the pitch because eventually he'll make magic happen. I think so.
yeah,
As I like to say, don't waste the trip, and I don't think he will if he gets that opportunity. Right? So
exactly. Norway
yeah.
robbed. Norway robbed. I keep hearing they can row back home. Norway. They must have been robbed. I know that video was so funny. They must have been robbed of their mobile phones. You got. You know what I mean? What could it be?
Yeah.
What a load of cat that is.
I
But
don't.
one thing I will.
Mhm.
Sorry, Gary. One thing I want to ask you as well. I want to ask as well. How do you think Thomas Tuchel has been managing our lads in Saka and Rice?
I well, I
Because
think he's.
they're not fully
Yeah,
fit.
I think it's a double edged sword because like Rice eventually broke down.
Mm,
Eventually broke down, and Saka, they've just been managing it the way everybody says he needs to rest, and I thought he did too. But actually,
mm,
Saka needs to keep playing. He just can't play a full 90. So to some degree, they are keeping him. He's not. I think he's not going to get healthy resting. He's going to get healthy playing football. It's going to take some time, and I think that's the patience you need. Rice, I think we knew he looked like he was taxing. I mean, when he had to go back and play right back in that match, that was probably the sign that guess what? Maybe we don't try to squeeze blood from this stone anymore.
mm,
That was probably the one game where you're like, all right, maybe we're gonna have to tone it down a little bit on what he brings to the table, or else we're gonna burn him out. And it happened, right? He comes off the pitch earlier than everybody expected. So I think in that sense, he kind of like probably went Arteta on one side, and then maybe a better manager, player manager in terms of time management with your players with Saka. Because Saka, every time he comes on the pitch, right, just you see, you see the levels go up, right?
mm.
You see the levels go up, and you go, well, damn, we missed that for the last whatever 40, 50 minutes based on whoever was on the pitch, right? So
Yeah.
So I think he's done well in that sense. I think Eze probably should be nice to see him get some more minutes, but I guess the question is where,
Mm. Yeah.
right? I mean, you're not taking Bellingham out of there, so then where does Eze go,
No.
right? So,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, no, I think he's done well to some degree with the players. I think Rice was going to burn out at some point. I mean, we saw it in the Premier League. I mean, this is worse because it is a small number of games, but it's a short amount of time. The weather is taxing for all the players. Everybody's playing under these hot temperatures. You're not going to get the same out of them. So they got two more matches. I think if they can, if Rice doesn't, will Rice start? I guess it's the question, right? In
Mm.
his head, he will, but shitty is the question. So yeah, I think he's playing. I think Tuchel to some degree seems like he's playing a little bit like what the way that Arteta has played, and he's playing right on the edge of like maybe getting it done, and he might be able to get it done. But the expense will be. We'll see what the ramifications of that are in terms of Rice. Anyways, Saka I think will be fine because if he starts a match, I don't think he might not start a match until the final if they make it. I
Yeah.
think, I think the way they play, especially with the fact that there's an extra 30 minutes on the line, right? You rather have Saka on maybe for the end than for the first half of the game where you may not get that lead that you need.
Mm.
So, yeah,
Well, I tell you what.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, one thing I don't want to hear, G, right, is because I know you're going to get it on if um if Rice and Saka were to come back cropped, or any other Arsenal players come back from the World Cup, and if they're not themselves, or they're feeling cropped, or they need operations, or whatever, I don't want to hear no top gooners. I'm sorry, blaming the international coaches, because we know from time to time of the years when Arteta does run, not everybody, but he has run players down to the ground,
yeah.
and you know what I mean, and that's something that he's got. If we're if from what Bobby said, the players that we're projected to get, we get our targets. Hopefully, we'll be seeing more rotation next year, because it's like you when you mentioned off camera about Christian Norgard. You know what I mean? Because we didn't see enough from the season, and when he did come in, he didn't let us down.
I
So
know. So the trust should have been there, and that's the thing I don't get. Like he showed that he was he should be trusted out there. When he like if you, I don't understand the mentality for Arteta. He's my midfielder. He comes in as a midfielder. He's probably going to give me. He should be able to give spell some minutes for my midfield. Who
yeah,
I don't want to have to lean on Rice and Zubimendi. All right,
exactly,
all right. The
exactly.
first minutes he gets are at center back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
The first minutes or the early, like the first minutes that he gets is like it came down to the fact that okay, we need somebody to come on for a center back, and so we're going to use Norgard, but he can't play in the midfield that he captained the team the previous season. How? What?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
logic doesn't work for me. Like what did you what aren't you getting? What did you miss? What did you
Mm,
miss that he can't play in your midfield? So you're going to wait until Skelly is ready to go in the midfield, right?
mm,
So, like, if Skelly and Norgay are sitting in the same situation at that point, right? Not getting into the midfield. Every time they try to get a push him back to the back line, all right? Skelly did whatever he had to do, gets in there. Norgard, to this day, couldn't get into a Premier League Champions League team, right?
yeah,
When it counted, right? So I think that I don't know. I think something weird is happening there. I don't get it. I think he
mm,
deserved more than he got, and I I don't
yeah.
know. Like
100%.
he can even play against Brentford.
Yeah,
Think about it. He could even play in that game. How he captained them this previous season. Like they got
yeah.
worse. Like you take your captain off, which means you're losing not only the player but then a little everything else that he brings to the table.
Yeah, my
And he
man's
couldn't
a
play. And he
Danish
couldn't play in that
international.
game.
Yeah, exactly. He's a Danish international as well, and you're thinking, come on. Yeah,
So
I mean, it's like that, but Arteta has his circle of trust, isn't he, really?
yeah.
But
Well, they don't.
it
And you
was,
know what? And if you know what, if that's the case, then Arteta's got to put his foot down. Do not
mm,
bring this guy in. I'm not going to play him. Like that should be. It should be that cut and dry,
yeah,
right? like I am not. Don't waste our money. I'd rather be short. You know what the problem is? He doesn't. I don't think he wants to take that blame. Right? He doesn't want to take that blame to have a small team and then look at this and then complain that he doesn't have the players. He doesn't want to say that and it all be on him, right? Because I think Berto will get him the players that he needs and talent, based on whatever checks the boxes, right? But Arteta's got to trust the boxes, right? Like this player can do this player can do that. Figure out how to get them on the pitch to do that when you need them, right? And I don't think he trusts it like that. Like you said, when he trusts you, he'll bring you on at any time, right? Like he
That's it.
trusts.
Yeah.
How do you trust Noni and you don't trust Norgard?
Mm.
The man trusted Mustafi,
Mm.
right? He trusted Mustafi, but he can't trust Norgard.
Yeah.
Come on,
And
something.
and then also what's funny as well is that um, I'm going to also talk about Martin Odegaard in a sec because
Mm.
about the his assist contribution for Norway, but for me that's all he's done. But Tuchel don't mess about with his subs. Not afraid to hook Rice off like he did. Rice set pieces. It's been awful. Yeah, he hasn't been on it with the set pieces apart from the first game. I mean that was the way he put it on the plate for Harry Kane.
Yep.
You know,
But you
just literally
see, but he wears down in the game, and so everything goes like you saw it on the first free kick in the game against Norway. The ball went like 2 feet in the air. It seemed. I'm not
yeah.
going to clear the first man, right? And it didn't get any better after that. So like when you can like you see everybody can see it, you know.
Mm.
As you said,
Really,
Tuchel is
man.
the one. There is a manager who like looks at what he can see and goes, "All right, this isn't working. I'm gonna have to pull one of my best players off the pitch, all right,
Great show as
and still get a, and
always.
still get a win, all right, still get the win."
Yeah, exactly.
So
Thank you, Quadra. Big up to you,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
It's always good, great when especially when my guy Gary's on as well. Well, and you know what I mean. Well, when anyone's on, really, it's always been positive. You know what I mean. I can't believe this channel's almost won next month. Crazy.
Oh,
I find
nice.
it funny that the media.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank
Yeah.
you. Be on my grand's birthday, bless her. Uh, I find it funny that the media want to stir trouble at Tuchel. Yeah, but yet the media will celebrate Jubilee Sing anthem about a German-born family. This happens every Euros, World Cups, media. It's like they obviously don't want us to win it, and this is when you're talking the English media. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, especially the way they tried to get Raheem Sterling a few years ago when he was bang on form for England. The FA finally found their backsides through a funnel and appointed a proper manager. Yeah, everyone's crying because he's not English. Guess what? All English managers aren't good enough. That's why. Uh, Question for you: Do you know who the last English manager to win a top flight title, First Division, Premier League?
I did hear this question a while back. I don't know the answer off the top of
This
my
is
head,
this is
but I want
probably a
to.
this is probably a pub question.
Yeah, this is the guy. Yeah, and I'm not good at that stuff because I don't remember. I don't remember much past yesterday. You know what I mean? So I don't have good memory for all these types of things. But I did hear that question, and yeah, it is that is that is crazy, right? Because it's not as if the whole country isn't football from one till they put you in the box, right? So to not have to be not to have an English manager, and I believe it's been years since an
I
Eng- I
can
like
tell you
I,
when.
yeah, yeah. I know.
I can tell you when.
Go ahead.
It was the 91-92 season. It was the last First Division.
Hmm.
Leeds won it, and Howard Wilkinson was the manager.
Yeah, yeah.
He
No, I
was
remember
the
hearing.
last one.
Yeah, Mr. Tom on my channel would love to hear that one. So
And then
he's
the
a Leeds
last
fan.
English manager, and it's funny because the last English manager before him to have won the First Division was another man named Howard
Hmm.
Kendall, at Everton.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was Hal Wilkinson. So no English manager has yet to win the Premier League.
that's crazy. And who who what English manager right now would be the next on odds to win it?
The
Like
next
like
English manager
And
right
I
now.
mean, like, yeah, now. So, like, right now, there's a manager out there that either they may not even be in the Premier League at this point. They may be in some of the lower divisions or
Well,
elsewhere.
well,
Like, but who could that be?
do you know what? You know what? If he'd have gone and managed if this manager managed at Arsenal, City, or Liverpool, I would say Eddie Howe.
Hmm.
He would be the next one for me.
But you know what? Like, okay, if he was, I don't know. I feel like if you have essentially the players that Newcastle had over the last 2 seasons, 3 seasons, if they trusted you, there is no way they're selling those players.
Yeah,
They're letting those players go. Like
I agree.
if you're that good, I believe there's no way those players are gonna want to leave, right? Like you bring all those players brought in a trophy to Newcastle, and like and potentially it could all be gone. Like a 3 year span, everybody that was part of that build to get them to where they're winning a trophy to like a gone. So
Yeah,
something's not right there. So I don't know if going to a bigger club would make any difference because like he had top flight players where he was,
yeah,
right? You had sorry, he had Isak, right? I mean, you've got Gramage, you had Gordon. I mean, like all these players that are out, some of them still playing right now in the World Cup.
yeah.
You had on your squad, and for some reason, either they're leaving because of you, right?
Mm,
They're leaving because of you as a manager, right? There's no reason why a team would go, you know what? I'm going to let go of some of my top players.
mm.
And that starts with the manager. So he comes to Arsenal, right?
Of course it does.
And something
Of course.
like something like goes to City because not the top player. Like they're thinking that they're selling their top player. you know,
Yeah.
like that's Harlan coming in. Harlan's coming in. How is there? And for some reason now they're selling Harlan. Right?
Mm,
Why? They're not. That would make no sense. But that's what just happened, right?
yeah.
And then on top of that, guess what? We've got a Rodri in the midfield. We're probably gonna let him go too. That doesn't sound like a good manager at the end of the day. Like something's not right there. So it's either him. It might be Newcastle, but I think if they thought they could win, they would just keep. I would assume they want to keep winning, unless it's all about the money. But
Yeah.
if it is, I mean, mm, that's why I think not getting when Newcastle was trying to pick up the striker that ended up going to Liverpool,
Mm,
and they let Isak go, and then Isak went to Liverpool. That basically was a slap in the face, right? I
yeah.
forget,
Yeah. Of
who's the
course it does.
striker for Liverpool that went in and got injured late in the season? Why can't my head? Like, that's why I
Oh,
tell you I'm not. That's why I tell you my memory is terrible.
Eka, is it Ekatik? Eka,
Ekatike, right? Yeah, Ekatike
yeah.
goes there, and like I believe
Chris
Newcastle was
can tell us
looking.
if we said that correctly.
Yeah, Ekatike, but I think Newcastle was trying to get him, right? Remember, they failed to get him, and the next thing you know, he's going to Liverpool. Next thing you know, Isak's going to Liverpool, and you're like, what?
Mm,
Like that's
yeah.
not a good sign, either for Newcastle or for Eddie Howe. So, like I said, something's not right there. I don't know the answer to that question, but he might be a good manager, but he can't. Like the best players can't be wanting to leave you, right? If you're doing things right, you know. Right? If Gramage leaves, which I hope he does, because that means he's coming to Arsenal,
Yeah.
then you know what? That they might as well just scorch the earth and try and start again because they got some quality players there that they can make a lot of money. Maybe start fresh and new with some young talent and start again because that's where they are. So yeah. So Eddie Howe is your choice. I'm okay. Take Eddie House because Eddie House I think is a known commodity and like potentially being the next guy. What young manager that maybe we haven't even seen yet in the league, up and coming, that would have that would be like, all right, they potentially could be that manager that gets England across the line, and or Premier League team across the line and gets one of the big trophies. Is there a young manager like, you know,
I mean, oh, look, you've got a lot of English managers in and around the Championship, League One, League Two. You know what I mean? You got some. You got some. Well, they'll never get selected for an international side, but you've also got good. I've seen some really good managers at non-league level. You know what I mean? Non-league level has been really really good as well. How I've seen how they work with their players, how they motivate their players. I mean, when I look at my one of my local clubs in North Greenfield United, uh, I haven't been to any of their friendlies yet, but I will be heading there, of course, this season. Bearing in mind it'd be my 11th season there, big up North Greenfield United. There are times where over the years I've seen some good football, and it's how they work it. Some of the goals that they scored, you can see it straight from the training ground. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that any of those that have managed a club previously or currently, I'm not saying, oh yeah, they should be managing a champion team. I'm not saying that at all. But they're good at what they do. You know what I mean? And it's not just North Greenfield. I've seen it at other clubs as well. So when I look at young managers in the, I'll tell you one manager I look at, and I think he'll have a better season. But he was a former Man United youth player in Richie Wellens. Now Richie Wellens, 2 seasons ago, almost got Leighton Orient to the Championship, but they unfortunately lost 1-0 to Charlton. And myself and Bobby did we did a watch along for that. In fact, I'm actually glad I didn't go to Wembley that day. Last season, Orient escaped relegation in the last game of the season, and I loved the way, in some respects, what Richie Wellen said about how he felt about how the players were underperforming, and and what I liked about it was I thought this guy's got high standards. He's got high standards. But when I look at Richie Wellens, I think he's someone that can manage in the Championship. And do I think he could manage a team in the Premier League? I don't think he'll ever. I think so, but I don't think he'll ever manage a big club. But I
Mhm.
look at Richie Wellens, and I've been following him over the years. I look at Richie Wellens, and I look at him, and I think, you know what, he could probably probably manage a Leeds United. You know what I mean, or maybe manage. I'm not
Okay.
Everton. No, I don't think he's there yet. But but Richie Wellens would probably be one for me, which I think he's still young. He has a chance to, to elevate, in my opinion. But I look at, say, Gary O'Neill. Gary O'Neill's managing Ipswich now. Gary O'Neill, he's the clubs that he's been at. He's good. I think he's been good. He's not one of those that's ever going to win a league title. But then again, it depends what club. If he goes to a big club,
Yep.
but Gary O'Neill would be one. I like him. I like his work ethic. I like his attitude. So, and right now, I'd have to look. I can even tell you how many English managers are in the Premier League right now. I couldn't tell you.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Now, I mean, one of the things that I don't know if it stands out with Wellens, the manager you're just talking about, but the thing is, did do managers like overachieve with the players that they get? Right? Got Raymond in the house. Raymond will sell you Manzabi. He's
Big
a
up Raymond.
he must be on the payroll or something like that because Manzabi is who he likes, and he's going to sell you 60 mil. Yeah, so just bear in mind that you might get another comment on him and Zabi. And I know he was injured, so he didn't play in the last match, right? So that probably stung a little bit and hurt things for who does he play for again? Oh my gosh, what country? I forget now.
Somebody.
But I forget what country he played for. But he was out injured, I think, in the last match. So that was a big difference. And I think is it Swiss? I don't know where he plays now. Today.
Switzerland.
Yeah, it is. It is Swiss, right? Yeah, he was out injured, I think, in that match, and that's why they
Yeah.
struggled a little bit. So, but yeah, yeah, yeah. But nah, yeah, no. Like I said, managers who can overachieve with the players that they get, that's what you want. So I don't. Gary O'Neill looked like he was on his way. I think sometimes people's expectations are too much, and that's when those managers get either rushed or don't give in time. Right? I think
Yeah,
Noni Nuno is a good manager, but he's not going to get the time in this day and age for some reason. You know, to get the job
yeah,
done. So he's been jumping around jobs, but I think at some points in those jobs, you're like, this is why you brought him in, and then eventually you go away. Owners go away from that stuff and see other people and go, oh, we want that as well. Then they try to jump the gun, and next thing you know, they're letting Nuno go. West Ham again brings in Nuno earlier in the season, right? Maybe they're not sitting in the championship, right?
yeah,
So you never, because he got them close, but maybe it was too late. So
yeah.
yeah, I think
I
I
mean,
think he said, like you said, look at those managers who overachieve of what they get, and then those are the ones you want because all the players, all the big clubs that we're looking at these days, there's a couple of players, if not a lot of players on there that, yeah, we thought they were going to be the player, but then but they are that player now. You see it,
yeah,
you see them go from like, oh, being all right to like, oh, wait, wow, world class player, and that's attributed to that manager, right? You look
yeah,
at the PSG team. I mean, yes, those players had talent, but the way that they're showcasing it right now, I think that comes from the manager as well, right?
of course it
And
does.
that's there's those city teams, right? I mean, Stones and you look at all the players on that back line that they had. None of them really stood out, but they actually got the job done, right?
Yeah,
All right. Like Stones
yeah,
comes in
that's
and
it.
helps England out, right? I mean, Jordan Henderson, if he didn't, I guess if he didn't break his arm, probably comes in and helps England out, right? Sometimes you get a little, you take that's like an El Neni, right? El Neni gives you a 7-8 performance all the day, but his level is not the same. But you know what you're going to get, and you know he's going to give it to you every time. And those are the type of players and managers you want to get. Those that take your fives and turns them into sevens. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What looks like a 5 performance is now a 7 performance in my system, right? So you want that because on your bad days you're still good.
yeah,
So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. But let's just go back into the chat. I
Mm-hmm.
would play 3-5-2 versus Argentina um, from Croatia, and Chris agrees. Do you know what? I think that could work. What do you reckon, Gary? You reckon that could work?
Yeah,
Three
yeah, I
five
think
two.
yeah, I think they got that from me. I did
Yeah,
say maybe they have to change the formation up a little bit, just so that you don't
yeah,
you don't put anybody out there on an island as much, because I think
yeah,
that they could get punished. I mean, think about it. If Argentina decides, guess what? Well, maybe we'll just we'll move Messi out to that side and let him punish somebody on that side of the pitch, right?
yeah.
Because they could do that, right? And that would suck, but for England. So yeah, no, I think they need to do something different, like or find maybe there's a player out there that they haven't played yet, and he goes out there and does a job.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, something different needs to be like that back line for England, not so good, not so good. Um,
No, it isn't.
they're either old or not good. Like there's young players, like there you got those young English defenders, right? Like I don't think any of them even made the squad, right? There was some young English talent that was coming through, like a couple of years ago. I don't think they made the England squad this time around. So yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, play three at the back. It would definitely help O'Reilly, and Chris, and I agree with you as well because for me, he's a midfielder. He's not a left back.
Hmm.
I mean, he's not a left back at all. But yeah, you got that too, who never leaves it late to make subs, unlike Southgate, and that's the difference. Yeah, yeah. I don't think, to be honest, I don't really think anyone's talking about Gareth, but they will talk about him if Tuchel cannot get us to a World Cup final.
Yeah. But the thing is, the problem is, if he doesn't make it, did he really screw up? Did he really do a bad job or something like that? I don't think so.
I don't think
Like
so either.
all 4 teams that are in there now have a chance to win it. And so you
Yeah,
just and unless somebody tells me differently, Messi's the best player out there right now. I think Mbappe and Dembele, it all depends on the day. One of them shows up though. That's a nice thing for France, right? Spain, I don't know. Who's their big name?
I'd say, do you know what? Lamine Yamal, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't done he's done little bits. He hasn't done a
Yep.
lot. But
Yeah.
when I look at Yamal, he just come back from injury because he did
Yeah.
not finish the season in Barcelona, and there are
Mhm.
times where he looks a bit short.
Yep.
And I think a fully fit Lamine Yamal
Yeah.
causes problems for
Yeah.
anybody.
Because I don't think he scored a goal yet, right, in the World Cup or
He scored
ever.
one.
So,
He's
oh, did
only
he
got
score
one.
one? Okay.
Yeah,
And
he
he's
got
been a little his shooting has been off, right? He's been because I don't know if he got it. Like he's been getting shots off, they just haven't been on target. At least testing the
this. I
goalkeeper.
agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. That I agree with. I'll say I treat Norval like Woody from Toy Story. Hit it right to the Buzz Lightyear. Oh, yep. By the way, Toy Story 5 is out at the cinema currently. I'll, I like those movies, but I'll wait on Disney Plus. What is it with managers? The player signs for him, then he doesn't use them, like buying an antique no one wants and letting it collect dust.
True. 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 True.
Chris,
Yeah,
I
you
love
know
you.
what? Like, and the best managers I believe out there, the ones that will take that antique and get something out of it, regardless, right?
Yeah.
Because
See,
you're not all you're doing is punishing yourself. You're
yeah,
handcuffing yourself because you know what, and you know if you can't find one thing that that player can do for you, then you're not that good of a manager. You can't identify at least some talents and stuff and get something out of one of the like. There's something about every player that you bring into your squad, right? And if you can't find the time to use it, that at the least, because I think there's times when Norgard could have come in to either to spell Rice, to spell Zubermendi, whatever the case, and he never used them. And then he let those players, like I said, burn out, right? As opposed to,
yeah,
you know what, I'm going to have to at least Norgard, you can do this job. Go in there and do that job, right?
mm,
Everything else, I don't care. Just do that one job, we'll be fine. And that's kind of where things need to go for a lot of these managers, right? Rice isn't doing the job, we pull him. Noni, we'll go back to the Noni well over and over and over again because Saka is just not fit. But then
yeah,
when like it's not working or it hasn't worked, right? Then guess what? We still can fall back and bring in somebody who can do a job. So yeah, that's a
yeah,
nice thing that Tuchel has done. So Saka, he might come out and may do the same thing, come in the second half of the finals, for example, and then have to play all the way through. But he'll be able to give England a good chance, I think. So yeah, no, that's yeah. I feel like I don't know if I'm saying same things over again, but no, I enjoyed enjoyed being here talking.
yeah, man. No, I'd keep Christian Norgard as well because I
Yeah.
mean I know he's going, but I would keep him. I mean,
If they're not going to get money
he's a
from him, they
great
might
player.
as well keep him, right? So
Yeah,
whatever they got, I think it was 10 mil that they paid for him or something like that. They should be able to get that for him, even if he didn't. Like what he do for for Arsenal should be able to get him 10 mil easy. You know what I mean? He's
mm,
probably worth more. He's a champion now, right? Premier League champion. He's part of. Yeah, I think everybody played a part. His part happened to be in the cup matches, which made it easy for those players that may have had to play, not have to play. But
mm,
yeah, yeah. No, there's Norgard. Is some people saying, um, oh, it was the whole like Kai and Erdogan. Should they be, should we be let go and bring somebody else in to help? Since if, for example, if Morgan Rogers comes in, you have Eze, Morgan Rogers, and Erdogan. Do you really need all three?
big up Tyson. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, Tyson.
You know, do you know what? What was I say? Big up Tyson. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all love here. You know what I mean? We're still going strong, the two of us here. No, appreciate you tuning in, brother. Appreciate you tuning in.
Hmm.
I mean, no one should talk about Southgate, in my opinion. He had the luck of the draw in all four tournaments and through the year in 21 final way. Yeah, 2018 should reach final. 2022, France's stubbornness let France back in. Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, you gotta
Well,
play. You don't know if this is the game where that gets you to the trophy. So yeah, yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Mm.
So yeah, no, I want to talk about Martin Odegaard during this World Cup. It's
Mm.
you know what it is, right? I'm gonna take my Arsenal hat off. I think me and you, okay, we are of the same ilk in terms of if there's a player who's performing for the Arsenal, we will praise that player. We're the same with the manager if the manager's doing the job. If the manager isn't doing certain things, he isn't doing, we'll say we'll have our say on it. It's the same with players. Same with players. Martin Odegaard, as you know, though, I'm not his biggest fan, but I always want him to do well in the shirt, and I can care less what he does for Norway. But I just find, you know, we go back discussing, don't we? Like 20, it's like 22, 23 came alive that season. 23, 24. Those seasons he was immense, absolutely immense. You know, with his forward play, everything about him. Yes, he's had injuries, season gone, but you've got a lot of Arsenal fans, or quite a few Arsenal fans, um, who are just trying and trying and trying to make this guy better than he is. Even some saying over the last couple of years ago, oh, he's he's of that Bergkamp ilk. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're nowhere near that guy. And the thing is as well is, yeah, he's had some assists this World Cup, but I haven't seen him really drive Norway forward. Not like a, not like say, let's say like a Jude Bellingham, the way he plays in the 10, and or he can play in the 8 as well, and the way he drives England forward, even the way he drives Real Madrid forward. You know, what is your take on Martin Odegaard this World Cup? Has he had an outstanding World Cup? Because I know Norway got to the quarters, but from an individual point of view, I only see he's done small things, but he hasn't been wow way. What's your take on that?
Yeah. He hasn't stood out the way you would want him to, but as you said, one, he's probably still coming back a little bit from his injury, so I don't think he's fully back yet. But he has. I mean, if you look at him out there, if we got that Erdegaard playing in an Arsenal shirt, I think we would have been happy, right? I don't think we got that Erdegaard that we're seeing right now, and it's not that I know the competition's bigger, but I think if we got that Erdegaard, he looked like he's having a lot more fun out there. That's kind of what we want to see as well. So yeah, no, I think he's actually like, is it where it could be? No, no. I mean, I think when you've got if Erdegaard is who we thought he was, and you've got Holland sitting in front of him, that combination should be working a little bit better, right? I
Yeah,
mean that I mean I we they always I think Erdegaard's try I he needs to get further up the pitch. I understand. Like everything you read says, you know what, he plays better out further back in the back of the midfield kind of thing. He can see things there and control things there. But guess what? He got to help his team score more goals, more than secure like things at the back. You know what I mean? And make things a little bit sound there. I think he needs to push up and like help out his attackers a little bit more. Like when he was like right now, the only thing that can change anything for me is if he's pressing like he was before he got his injury up top, right? Because he adds that. That means he's further up the pitch, and his pressing was really good for us, and made things a lot easier for everybody behind him. Right? It was great. Right? You see a lot of turnovers that in a deep in the attacking side, and we're able to get goals from it and stuff like that back. But he wasn't bringing that, and then he's further back, so he's not really supporting us in the attack. So I kind of felt like he's getting into it. If Arsenal can, I mean, I don't want him to sell. I want him to get back to his form. That's the thing. I think that's the thing. There is maybe we've seen it, right? So either he's got it and he's going to get back to it, and they should let him get there. Like Saka, they're not starting Saka because they feel he's going to get there, right? Erdegaard, if he needs the same treatment and they can get him back to the form, they just can't start every game. Then they should do that because there's a good player in there, and we've seen it, and we need that to go forward. If not, then you take him like right now. He's probably going to be you probably get the most money you can for him, as you said. He just got to a the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why the team is there. He's there. He's the reason they're there. But I think he had Sanderberg behind him, and that made things easier. Like for some reason with Arsenal, he doesn't like. He's got Rice there, and he still feels like he has to go back and support. I don't get it. Got Zubimendi, Rice, and Erdogan, and he still has to be behind them. That makes no sense to me. Come on, why is he? Sometimes you see he's coming from the back line, and you're like, you got Rice and Zubimendi on the pitch. What do you like? No, like, come on. Like it's almost like you can't miss the shot you don't take kind of thing. You can't miss making a mistake in the final third if you never get to the final third and take that risk, right? Kind of we're doing the chat in the WhatsApp, and it's like the difference between Eze and Erdogan is Eze will take that little risk, and if it plays off, you're laughing, right? Because it's a really great build up of play.
Yeah.
Erdogan on the other side will sometimes seem like he's okay having it walk the ball into the net, and it's like we need a little bit more danger, right? A little bit more risk taking in our attack, and I think he can do it because remember he used to be like he used to make those like him and I'm not gonna say and and that box to box midfielder I guess we're not allowed to talk about anymore, but that combination that those two had, right, made the midfield so much smoother, right? The ball would just flow through there. It was him and both of them working together. He doesn't have that anymore, but he's the player that could just do it all by himself anyway. So he should. I think I'm more disappointed in Erdogan because I feel like he's not giving us the that performance, that level that form that he can has it that I believe he has in him. So if you can't get it out of him, then maybe he has to go. If he
Yeah.
doesn't have it in him, then maybe he has to go. But I feel like that it's there. There's a little bit. It's like remember there was a time when when's it like the question was when's the last time we had a free kick and it was like Erdogan against Norwich I think years ago, right? That was like the answer. Like where's that guy? Where's that guy that can take a free kick and put
Yeah.
it on target, right? Because he can.
Uh,
That talent is there. Like
I
why is
get
that
it.
not? Why are we not seeing that now? What? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like come on, uh, like I want him to shoot because I feel
Yeah.
like he's one of our best guys with the ball at his feet taking a shot. He won't take the shot, and then when he does take the shot, you're like, yes, do more of that, right? It's
Exactly.
like so that's the thing. I think we just if you're not going to get everything out of a player, then you might want to let them go, you know. And like everybody believes, I think everybody for Arsenal believes that we've gotten so much out of Saka, right? We've squeezed that blood out of the stone kind of thing. Erdogan, we haven't had a chance to even pick the stone up and even attempt to squeeze it because it's not there. So
Mm.
that's my disappointment in Erdogan because I think there's something there. I just don't. If we're not going to get it, then we might have to move on. You know,
Yeah.
and it might be more because of injuries and other things. I think you see it with Kane, right? When his game is not right up front, he'll float back more. Same thing with
Yeah.
Erdogan. For some reason, I feel like he floats back more because he either doesn't have the confidence or he can't do it. So then he says, you
Mm.
know what, I'm gonna do something to get something out of this game, and that's where boom boom. Next thing you know, he's playing box to box midfielder, and you're like, no, I want I want you to be creative and attacking, right? So I kind of feel like yeah. So that's kind of my thing on Erdogan. I think we're, we're not we're not getting what we want out of him. So something has to change. Either his football has to change, or and there's a name change as far as like who gets that role and position, right? And it's not even a captaincy thing at all anymore. It's whether the football works,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Punch. No, I hear you, and you broke that down really well. And it's I've made it no secret in the chats. I'm not even a fan of this guy because basically it's like when you see a player and they come to Arsenal, they're working hard, they get down to it, and then all of a sudden, Odegaard's not the first player to have done this. You know what I mean? It's like there's been other players who all of a sudden it's like the form has just gone, and then you think, oh my god, they're not even performing now. I think with Odegaard for me, it's just it's like when I talk to fans, or if I talk to one at work in particular who loves Martin Odegaard, he loves Martin Odegaard, and it's just a case of, well, why we why are we hyping him up like he's one of the greatest players ever at the club, or what? I just don't get the hype around that. Don't compare him to like sort of Bergkamp, Ozil. Don't even compare him to Carnu. You know what I mean? Those types of players were different, and I just think he won't get that form back. And also the only how he could turn it around for me is like Bobby said. I don't know if you've heard from what Bobby said, is that we're going to be playing football next season. We're not going to be playing the same way we did, last couple of seasons. So, if it was a case of we then revert back to type from a few seasons ago, because because the club want to see us play good football again. We've got the Premier League title. When they want to see good football again, if Odegaard was to remain at the club, and we're playing good football and he's shining, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm not going to say I'd still want you to leave. You always want players to prove you wrong. That's what we want at this club, to be proven wrong. I'm not gonna if he changed to a point where he was like how he was a few seasons ago. I'll take that Odegaard in a heartbeat. But right now, I'm not seeing for the last 2 seasons. I'm not seeing if that Odegaard's going to come back.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's my issue with him. But we'll have to see, because it's like we've been saying in the chat, his value would have gone up slightly because of this World Cup. As you know, it's like players, whenever they get further, isn't it really, where value always goes up? And maybe that's why Haaland will probably be the one who I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid were to come into him and, come from him, he says yes, and he's gone. I do not see him staying. I don't see him staying at City for at least another 2 seasons. This he's probably gone. He's probably gone already, or this will probably be, or he probably have one more season left. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But what I want to also talk about now is I would like your score predictions for the semi-finals, please. So we've got France and Spain Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
Hmm.
8 o'clock over here. So it'd be about what, 3 o'clock for you in the afternoon, roughly?
I think so.
Two, three
Yeah.
o'clock?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me
What,
see
what
what. Let
would
me
be your
actually see what time of the game. The games are Tuesday, right? Yeah. Three. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
yeah,
3 p.m.
so 3 p.m. So what would be your score prediction?
I'm torn on this one because, like, what do I want? Do I want Saliba to go home and rest?
Or Marino?
No, Marino is gonna. He'll be. He's coming off the bench, so that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Zumini's coming off the bench. That's fine. Raya can't get it. Well, probably won't play. Yeah,
Mm.
unless they're playing in the third place game or something like that. But yeah, no, I guess if I'm gonna go with my favorite, I think France has. It'll be. I hope it's a good game, and if it is, that means France is having some fun. If it's a ugly game, then that means Spain's gonna have an opportunity, right? That's kind of how I look at it. I think that's probably what everybody else would say. So if France is if it's a good game, France is having a good day, and it's going back and forth, and France probably runs away with it. But if Spain is able to, control things like they've done pretty much, not to, I mean, I think they may have given up their first goal, I think it was, but in general, probably not. So I'm gonna go with France to win it. I think if France is having a good day, they'll win it 3-1.
Mm.
If Spain were to get it by, then they might go to penalties. Um, I think Spain won't be able to run away from France. That's my prediction for that first game. Let me give you the next one.
Yes, please.
Yep. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think England's going to have to, they were going to be playing against like, anywhere from 15 to like 100 people essentially. on that pitch in terms of, and a football god probably as well if they're going to get by. That's what Kane, Bellingham come up and have a good performance, then I think England will have the chance. I don't know if we'll see it though. Messi is definitely an issue, and that right back situation for England. If there's no answers there, I think that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Seems they seem to be getting punished there. I'm not going to go. I'm going to go with who I want to win, not who I think will win, because I think all the odds are on Argentina to win, but I think England could squeeze out a 2-1 win there, and that's what I would like to see. It's a stretch, I think, because of everything else that's going on, but they have if Bellingham, does the same thing he's done. If Saka either starts or comes on, then they have that will be an answer right to the question who helped get England across the line. That's a nice thing that they have that I don't think any team has that kind of the difference from the starter to the backup in terms of the quality that they're going to see, and that might make the difference, right? That might make the difference there. So unless Noni goes out there and does something we haven't seen before. Once again, we keep asking for that, right? Can he put a shot on target and get it past the goalkeeper, right? And then next thing you know, then they have to, then they're going to lay off of him a little bit, and maybe he'll make passes, and the passes will be the Harry Kane streaking through there or Bellingham streaking through there, and then you're like, well, we don't need Saka because Noni's doing it. So, yeah. So that's kind of how I have it. I guess part of it's with my head says France and my heart says England. So
Okay.
making it into the final. I mean, I would like if France goes out, then that means Saliba gets to rest, and if he's going to have surgery, then so be it. And then Arsenal will know what they're going to do as far as do they need to bring in another center back talent or defensive back line talent to help them out in the beginning months. So yeah, and there will be a outside of Argentina, there will be an Arsenal player in the final, and maybe an Arsenal player with a World Cup as well, depending on how that plays out. So yeah, that's how I got it. That's how I got it. So Chris Welsh he's got his lineup there.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
just before we go to Chris's,
Mm,
I think for me, I'm looking at France 3, Spain 1,
mm,
and England Argentina. I think it'd be 2-1, 2-1 to England.
mm.
Be tough though. Be very tough after
Yep.
extra time.
Yeah.
I see it. I don't see a penalty because FIFA would probably give Argentina a helping hand anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. It's we'll see. We'll see because Argentina didn't need FIFA's help yesterday. The
No,
officials'
that's what
help.
I'm saying. Like the things that they need that the help that they got in the previous matches. Now it's just on pure football, and they have the answers on the football
Yeah,
in regards to do they have the answers to get it done, just playing
exactly.
football, not getting help. So I think they do have that. So yeah, and Messi's, like I said, and you heard it from Alvarez, right? We're here to get this man across the line, right? It's like a Grand Prix, right? You have a team on your side, and then you have your teammate also who's helping you make sure you get across the line first, right?
Mm.
Right, right. Portugal doesn't have that. They don't even have the guys helping out with the car for the driver that are helping him out, right? But for the fact that you've got an entire squad who want to get Messi across the line, and they don't want to let him down, right?
Yeah,
That right there is the difference. Like that, and that's where I think that's where Harry Kane will do everything he can to help out, even if that means he's not going to score, right? So it should be a really good game because you got these two powers working against each other, you know,
yeah,
and also Harry Kane scores a goal, he'll take the lead in the Golden Boot, in terms of or the best scorer. So there's a lot, no, they're stuck on, he needs 2 goals ready to tie him, but he has an opportunity to maybe knock him out. So yeah, no, I think
Well, Harry Kane,
yeah,
for the
yeah,
first time ever,
yeah.
I've heard him not talking about the Golden Boot.
No,
Um,
that you should. You be trying to get your team to a trophy, my man. Nobody's gonna care about how many
yeah,
goals you scored.
that's what he cares about. Because I remember years ago when he was at Spurs, he cared about that Golden Boot in 2018.
Mm,
Cared about
mm,
it. He's like he wanted it so much because he never won anything. But I'm thinking, is his attitude now in the interview I saw a few days ago so different now to the point where he's already won four major honors at Bayern Munich.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's his third season at the club, isn't it? So yeah, maybe that's why he's now thinking, you know what? It is about the trophies, golden
yeah.
boots, and everything else. That's just you know, it's just like a what's the word? Not consolation, but
Yeah.
it's
Nobody, you know what? Nobody remembers the Golden Boot winner if they won nothing,
yeah, it's just a
right?
little nice side
Like
piece.
it shows that you're consistent in your play, but like everybody else that you want to be compared against will say, like, look, I've got a World Cup, I've got a Champions League, I've got, back to back to back, league titles, whatever the case may be, right? So yeah, no, and that's I and that might yeah that's Harry Kane. So like I said, Harry Kane and Bellingham show up. I don't think Argentina will be able to handle that.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I mean, because they've shown that they can be got, right. So that might happen, right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Well, like I said with Chris, France 2, Spain 2, Spain on penalties. England 1, Argentina 2. I hope I'm wrong, but the champions just find a way if we win. What a statement
Mhm.
I'll be. Well, you know what? That's a fair assessment. I mean, I'm not gonna. I never to any fan, England fan or whatever. I'm gonna say, oh, what we talking about 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Actually,
Yeah.
no, it'd be 2 on us, 2
I
on us.
the thing is,
I get why I get why I said that.
yeah,
I do get that.
I can't go against my team because there's always that one chance, right? That they get the
Mm.
job done, right? No matter how big the odds are against them. So, you hope it to be this time, all right? So,
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what though. Look at this, G. I do like this. I do like
yeah.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Trafford's
Yeah.
quality keeper. Kay Stearns, Burn, Free, James O'Reilly, wing backs, Rice Anderson, Jude midfield, Saka, Kane up front. You see, that is I could play that. I could definitely use that. I mean,
And
we
you know
know
what?
that's
What
not
is
going to
and
happen.
sometimes you look at that and you're like, what is that? And I always say, at some point, and this is what I think Wenger didn't do in his late days. At some point, just get your best 11 players on the pitch.
Mm,
Just get your best 11. Some of them might have to play out of position. It doesn't matter, but they're your best 11 players, right? And they can perform a task when asked to. So I think, that's what that lineup looks like. I just get my best 11 out there that I can think of and make sure all the positions are filled and then go with that and see and go and get the best out of them. So, yeah, no, I think that would, that's one of those, yeah, not necessarily break glass because you could just play it. I mean, but that
yeah,
probably gives you the best opportunities. And then, you know, then you have a lot of players you can bring on later on if you want to solidify the defense and see it out, right? I think Spence coming off the bench has looked really good compared to, the way when he started a couple games ago. And, of course, Burns has looked good when he's come on. I don't know. We'll see how he starts. That might be a problem, but maybe you just want to see that first 45 minutes through, and then, if you're able to get across the line and like I said, if Saka's on the pitch and you don't have a goal or two scored, then you're probably in trouble because he's gonna have to come off, right? If he's starting, so you want him to come off with a lead, but at least have goals scored when he's on the pitch, or else you've wasted. I think not wasted, but the opportunity's been it's come and gone.
mm,
So yeah, yep, yep.
yeah. No, fair play, man.
Hmm.
Inflatino don't exist. How the F does he get to each game so fast? Yeah,
Hmm.
he does, doesn't he? I've noticed that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Oh, if Tuchel gets to the final, I'm backing him to win it. Don't forget what he did with bang average Chelsea team. Yeah, it's true that Champions League final. Yeah, You know what I mean? That was a team that Lampard left, and he turns them into European champions. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, that you know what that is? That is getting the best. That's why I say like some managers will get the best out of the players that they got. Like Arteta wins an FA Cup out of the players that he had, right? You got the best out of
Yeah.
them. But then you see what he wants, and you're like, oh boy, like he's not getting the same. He's not getting the same level of performance out of the players that he has now compared to when he won that FA Cup. In the regards of, the talent level was way down, but he got the best out of the team because he said, you know what, I'll get all these players in a good position to win, and then
Yeah.
we'll figure it out after that. As opposed to this is the way I want to play, and guess what? The way I want to play, I don't have the players, then it doesn't work, and I don't want to adjust. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? That's his. At some point you have to adjust to what you got. So, um, yeah. So that's when you
Yeah.
see teams overachieve, right? The Chelsea team nobody had winning, but they did, right? Because on their day they got the best out of their players on that day. The next season, where were they? Struggling again, right? So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That. I mean, what we got? Just get back into the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Johnny Infantino. There's been a photo of him and Donald Trump going around, and it's a bit. Oh, if you all have seen it, you'll know what I'm on about.
Mm-mm.
Saka is not winning anymore. His legs gone. He's inside forward. Yeah, and you probably heard us talk about it, Chris, over the last few months, where I look at him as a future number 10, and I think he'll do
Mm.
very well there. You know, I think he's got the intelligence to play in that 10 role. You know, and I think it'd be more or less sooner rather than later. You know what I mean?
If it gets him on the
It's,
pitch and it gets him on the pitch for a longer amount of time, then why wouldn't you want to do that,
yeah.
right? If you I think if you bring him on, if like Noni has to start because he gets the minutes, but you put Saka inside because he gets you more minutes from there than he can on the wing. Maybe Noni even looks better now because he has, because now they have to think about Saka on that same side of the pitch, right?
Yeah.
Coming up, right? If Saka's there and Noni's there, like Noni right now, like he might actually he might actually make that turn,
Mm.
right? He might, as opposed to just taking a shot, he might actually make that turn because now you're dealing with Saka and you have to err on the side of I don't know if I want, I don't want him to tip that ball to Saka coming behind me, so then I'll give him
And
some
he's
space and then he runs by you. So I think, you
yeah.
know,
And he's so quick.
yeah, yeah,
He's so
yeah,
quick as well. If you
yeah.
combine Saka and Noni together, you get a crazy player.
Yes,
If you
yeah,
combine the two, you know what I mean.
yeah.
And but yeah, man, it's well, I'm looking forward to the next week or so with regards to World Cup. That's almost over. And when are we? When's pre-season start? Is it started already, or is it tomorrow? I haven't even checked yet.
I thought it
Let me
was in
ask.
a week or two. The players have to, or because they're going to Marbella or whatever it is for the
Yeah.
summer training, right? And that's happening soon. And I think some of the players have started showing up, right? Because I think somebody showed up and then was like, "Oh my, Calafiori's already here." So I think,
Mm.
right? Because I think even Bobby said Calafiori is looking like good. Timber is getting back into some sort of form. So, like as much as we might miss Saka and Rice and Saliba, if we have Timber and Calafiori, we might be all right in certain other areas of the pitch. So we might be to get through that first month or two, we might just have to slug it and just get by. I know I listened to some Liverpool fans, and they would always say those first 10 matches in the league were just a feeling out period. It's getting
Yeah.
it's when you see in the Grand Prix when they kind of going back and forth on the tires to get them warm enough to stick to the track. That's kind of what you're
Mm.
doing in those first 10 net matches. So maybe you get the win, maybe you don't, but after that you're rolling for the next 20, and that might make a difference in your season. So we're going to have to do something like that anyways at some point. You're not going to rush back our players. So yeah, so we might not have as bad as a team going in compared to who we're playing, right? Yes, we don't have Rice and Saka and Saliba, but you know what? Compared to who we're playing, Coventry City, should they have any players on their team that kind of like concern us defensively or
Mm.
offensively? Probably not, right?
No, but it's you know what I mean. But it's
It's
one of
just
those
becomes
games, isn't it?
mental.
Like, it's one of those games where we could be clearing up cobwebs. You know what I mean? I know we'd have already played a few pre-seasons and City in the Shield.
Hmm.
Not at Wembley. It's at the Emirates, at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been there before a couple of times. Nice stadium, very nice. But yeah, it's for me. It could even be about clearing cobwebs because you know we may go there thinking, the home game thinking, oh yeah, as champions 5-0, but I'm
We
expecting a
don't need
very
to do
tough game.
5-0 today. You don't need to do 5-0 in the first 10 games. We need to be clicking in that middle period of time where we're like rolling, and then you might see
Yeah,
those like right to, like you said, if we're just trying to dust off the cobwebs and the dust and stuff off the shoulder and get and get going, then we can do that. We can win ugly. We've seen that,
yeah,
and maybe we just win ugly because we're used to it now, right? A
hmm
1-0 over Coventry, nobody would be surprised, especially if Rice and Saliba and Saka are not in a lineup, So we'll be fine that way. We can win like that. That's where Arteta can get the best out of the players that he has because he'll
yeah,
put a scheme up there that get the game in our favor, and as long as the players perform, it'll be all right. So yeah, I don't mind winning ugly if we're like if it's building towards like making sure we get the squad together later on when we start going into the Champions League matches and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's what you have to do, and I think if we bring in those players early, nice, right? You know, bring in those players early would be nice. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we shall see. We
Hmm.
shall see indeed, and
Hmm.
hopefully, next Saturday, I think I'm free next Saturday. So most likely, oh no, I'm not actually. I'm not free next Saturday because I would have jumped on Bobby's Arsenal transfer show. No, I think I've got a few things to do, but yeah, but listen, Gary, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great 2 hours. It's been some good. It's been nice talking about World Cup. Yeah, we did a little bit of Arsenal, but it's nice talking about Arsenal as champions,
Yep. Yeah.
still as champions, and then obviously
Yeah.
we've got to do all
We
over
got
next
we got
season.
whatever. What is it? We still got like 290 days or whatever the number is. So
But this is it, yeah. Until it's
so
mathematically,
and,
done if we cannot win the league. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And
but
even then, you know what? And even then, it sounds like the statutes of limitations say we can talk about it for at least 5 years before it becomes
yeah.
that you used to be champions. No, 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 no. So
You
yeah,
know what? I still talk about the other championship wins that I've seen, the other five, because for me they were just as impressive. But I think for us it was about getting over the line for this one, first one, 22 years. Whereas the other titles that we've enjoyed, we also enjoyed consistently great attacking football.
yes, yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So we enjoyed that, and then we had this. You're watching a game one of years ago, and it's like you knew you were going to win, no matter who you're playing against. You knew we were going to win.
yeah,
There were times where we would play Man United at home, or even away at Old Trafford where we drew a few games. And there's me thinking, yeah, we can win this. Old Trafford, I mean, you know what I mean? It was that, or you could sense that we were going to win it. I mean, for example, 2001 2002 season, when we just won the FA Cup, and then we had Man United at Old Trafford when Will Todd scored the only goal. That game, that day, I was not bragging, but I said, confidence in the way we're playing, we're going to win this game and we're going to be champions. That's how confident I felt. I want us to feel that way this season coming
yeah,
in
yeah,
games. I'm not saying show arrogance, but be arrogant. I'm not saying that at all.
yeah.
But
Well, you know
you
what?
know,
That's what you saw, and that's what you saw. At least for me, that's what you saw in the way that Arteta, set up the way that we play in the league.
mm,
I think he feels he can depend on that. but the
Yeah,
cup matches are totally different style of football that he has to have a mentality that we have to have coming in. So he has to
exactly.
learn that part of it, right? Because we can work on a 38 game season, right? You can always like you don't have to win everything. If you win more than you lose there, then you're fine, right? And that's what
Yeah,
he was able to do. And like as long as I think I think working for or not working, but depending on said player to come back, can't do that anymore. Assume they're not coming back and work it out with what you got or bring in somebody else, right? Because I think last season, if we were like, I think we depended on, Erdogan coming back from his injury, Saka coming back from his injury,
mm,
and not having to depend on Noni, not having to
yeah,
depend on a Norgard, when in reality, guess what? Assume the worst sometimes and make sure you have that answered, right? So then you'd be better off. Like, if Arteta looks at those cup matches and we don't see a different style of football in those games, like those are the games where Max Dowman definitely was all
yeah,
by himself, right? He was the
hmm
only one out there. Remember, I forget which cup it was against some team from a lower division, and he's out there by himself going, "I got nobody else to help me here. I can break this team down, but if I'm passing,
It
who am
was
I passing it
Mansfield.
to?" Yeah,
Yeah, Gary, it
I,
was Mansfield away. Yeah,
yeah, and you know what? He looked like he had no help there. He could only do
mm,
so much, right? I mean, if one minute some manager would probably say, "Max, just put the ball in the net," all right? Because you know what? If you don't have to help, sometimes the manager will just tell you, right? Yeah,
yeah,
I got. I'm. This isn't the lineup I would like you to play with, but guess what? If you see it, just go ahead and take it. You know what? Make sure you come back, right? Because that's going to be the second part of it. But you know what? You might have to just do it yourself. And that's when the KDBs, right, are putting the ball in the net, and you're like, "What's going on here?" It's because at some point, guess what? I'm going to have to do it. You know, and I
mm,
think that's what you got. That's what Max showed in that game. And yes, it was a lower division team, but I think he showed that he can put pressure on Newcastle, right? That Newcastle match when he came in, he put pressure on them, right? Every game he's come in and played, he's shown a little bit of something that you're like, yes, let's tap into that and get more out of it. So yeah, I think we have sometimes we have that player, but Arteta's his handcuffs and his ropes tight, right? He
mhm.
keeps his blinders on, his reins are pulled back. Sometimes you gotta let some of these same thing with Nweri, Come
Yeah,
on. I just Nweri when his like I miss those days his first touch was a shot. I know Arteta was probably cringing when he would come on because he knew he was gonna take a
mm,
shot before he did anything defensively. But I think we have some of the answers. We just need to sometimes you just might you might have the genie in the bottle. You just need to open it and let it and see.
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind
So
of my thinking there. So I think, yeah, I assume Max will improve, and if Nweri is staying, then we need to tap into that as well in terms of what we can get out of them attacking wise. Worry about their defense later, all right? Usually attacking comes first in these young kids, anyways. Defensive responsibilities usually pick up later on, right? Because you should tap into the what you can get out of them now, and then work on the other things, right? So no, it'd be good to see what we do. But yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
would be, and
I can't believe we have been
yeah,
talking for 2 hours and yeah.
I know. Looking forward to next season, club. Anyway, but yeah, man. Listen, everyone in the chat, this has been so good. Thank you for everyone in the chat. And big up the views rate as well, all of you. And yeah, just please like, share, subscribe to all those that Rosie put in the comments as well. Got some very good channels here. Also, please subscribe to my guy here, GWTT.
Yep.
Please
Thank you.
subscribe to G, and yeah, help his channel grow as well. Because if there's one channel that deserves to grow, it's his channel. And the content on there, it's so good, it's so funny, and yeah, it's on point with all the topics. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just Arsenal fans. Other fans come on there as well.
Yeah.
So please subscribe to it and subscribe to me. Please
Yes. Yes.
subscribe to me
Everybody.
as
Thank you.
well.
Everybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brenny's He's just starting here, but let's. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
almost third of August. is my first anniversary. I'll most likely probably do a long anniversary party. I'll probably just be on stream for ages. Look at me, I'm talking. I don't even know what day it falls on. I'm guessing it falls on a Monday. So I don't even know what shift am I working. Like Monday. Oh yeah, it could be. I could do something in the afternoon, evening. So yeah, that'd be good. But listen, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Feast, as always, and
Yeah.
we are out of here. Take care, everyone.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Yep.
Take care. All the best.
Mhm.